Hello, I would like to share with you a very important message that I feel God has wanted me to share for a while. Let me first start off by saying that as a young girl, I had a very unfortunate childhood early on. There was many different forms of abuse. I did not know how to deal with several of those issues, as many don't. But luckily, at age 9, I was brought to a youth group where I believe that's when the comfort of God and the Lord came into my life and saved me. I became very spiritual, and I often at times would hear God talk to me. Some may say guardian angel, Jesus, spirit God. But I would ask questions, and I would hear in my heart a thought as if it was words spoken of different things. It got me through many years of being treated very terribly, and kept me having faith in my future. I struggled through my teenage years, as many do, and I stayed strong in my faith. I never touched any drugs, was a good kid, did well in school in spite of mistreatment at home. I unfortunately had to live with relatives since I was a young child, so I did not have the love of a mother. I had many times questioned why God put me in those situations where I felt very different and alone than my friends. But in my heart, I always believed I would be happy someday. I would pray and luckily have dreams that would show me the future. I dreamt of my husband in detail. I was lucky to have many other dreams that told me many things that didn't seem to make sense to others, but did to me. I later found out that possibly things as little as your birthday, your name, maybe has some real reason behind it, and maybe, just maybe, the science of numerology is not so silly. I was 19 years old when one day I came home, and I was very spiritual, very committed, read the Bible daily, if not at least weekly. And I had chosen to have an employment working with the mentally handicapped, which I enjoyed greatly. My spiritual strength seemed to surge during those years I worked with them, as I feel they are beautiful beings, spiritually more evolved than many of us that otherwise do not have limitations. I was feeling very sorry for myself one afternoon, but still believed strongly in my love and protection from the Lord. I walked into my room after realizing just how alone I truly felt, looking back on the years that I was not included in many family events, abused more than anybody else in the home, treated very differently, and realizing that my mother, whom to the age of 5 I adored, would never really be there for those milestones in which I had hoped as a child. I was going to college at the same time, making my own way, paying all my bills, being clearly reminded that I was lucky to stay in a semi-unfinished garage of the house that was cold, water dripped only several inches from my head in bed from a leaky roof, freezing in the winter, where I would sleep with a winter jacket and 2 comforters, was never allowed to have air conditioning as my cousins were in their rooms. Very clearly told me I was unwelcomed, unloved, a burden. I said, unfortunately, under my breath that afternoon, "Please, God, please, Father, you are my real father. My earth father was a horrendous human being. You are truly my father. So why can't you please just give me some kind of illness and kill me? Take me home with you. I would never commit suicide, but I'd rather be in paradise with you. I want to be able to know what it's like to be loved and not rejected, not question every day why I'm here, hating myself." As soon as I said that under my breath, I felt a sharp, severe pain in the back of my skull. It felt as if somebody must have hit me in the head with a hammer. I got dizzy, and thankfully, I was only several inches from the edge of my bed when I fell onto my bed. I fell into a very deep, deep sleep, one that almost felt like I was in a coma. The next thing I know, I'm standing in the street and I see this beautiful castle to my left, far, somewhat distance. It's huge. It's beautiful, light brick, a light gray tone to it with colors emanating as if they just sparkled from all over the front of this castle. Different colors, oranges, fuchsias, blues, greens, just amazing. I remember looking at it and thinking, wow, how do they get those lights to look as if they just come out of the concrete? To my right, I saw a gentleman balancing himself on what appeared to be a suspended bar in the air, about maybe 50 feet up. And it seemed like as if it came from nowhere. Nothing was holding it in place. And as he's balancing himself in what appeared to be a dark aqua one-piece spandex suit, I looked at him and laughed. And under my deep thoughts, I thought to myself, gee, look at him trying to show off. Who's he think he is? How ridiculous. That outfit. As soon as I just thought that, a roaring, powerful, intense, shakingly immense power that you can never fully explain, 1,000 lightning bolts going through your very being came from behind through the front of me. It felt like it came through my whole body. And the deepest, almost, just can't even explain the depth of the masculine tone. Somewhat, I would have to explain it as sounding, I heard the words, "How dare you judge others? How dare you question difference? I like difference. Who are you to question what I like?" And as soon as I heard that, I shook and realized that was God. I remembered I was in heaven with him. I quickly said, "I'm so sorry. I didn't mean it." And I was ashamed that he heard what I thought. Apparently in heaven, people hear each other's thoughts. This is why we need to be careful what we even think, because we can hurt others in heaven with our thoughts. On earth, we can hide our ugliness through talk and just being silent. That quick, as angry and chastising and disciplinarian of a father he was calm and warming and welcoming, and I felt his energy and warmth around me like a warm blanket. It was so peaceful. I remember feeling like I just wanted to stay there forever, that I had never known what it was to not feel anxiety and fear and being scared constantly. And there was none of that there. It was so relaxing. Almost as if I would imagine being on the greatest drug you could imagine, although I've never been on any. It was just the most amazing comfort. I remember thinking, wow, how great. It's not cold. It's not hot. I don't feel pain. As soon as I said sorry, he lovingly said to me, "It is time, you must go." I looked down what appeared to be roads, almost like blacktop, with an intersection, trees. And to the left appeared to be almost as if, oddly, a train, almost as if it was a high-powered Amtrak train. But beyond that was what looked like outer space. And in the distance, I saw a building. It was about 4 or 5 levels, stories. The second from the top, there was a window with a light on. It was the only window with a light on. He explained to me that I needed to go with the other children onto the train to go back to that building. I understood that to be Earth. That I, in a sense, was going to school. I don't know if it's a type of Sims situation. I don't know. If we're almost in a sleeping state, that is what I felt. I started to act like a little girl, and I ironically was the age of about 9 or 10. My understanding is that most of us children going back were between the ages of 2 to, say, 17, boys and girls, and that was our spiritual age. So if you see somebody on earth, you may assume an 80-year-old is older than a 20-year-old. But in heaven, indeed, the 20-year-old could be 16, and the 80-year-old could be the spiritual age of a 4-year-old. Anyway, as I said to him, "Please don't make me go," in a whining voice, I said, "Please, I don't want to go there. It's cold there." And he answered calmly and lovingly, still in a very powerful but calm demeanor, "You must be an adult now. You can no longer be a child. It is not always cold there." And I still was trying to get out of it. I said, "Please, please don't make me go back. I want to sleep here with you." He said, "At day, you sleep with me. At night, you must sleep there." It's funny because as a small child, when I was 6, I remember hearing what I thought was my guardian angel in my mind say to me, "At night when you sleep, you're in heaven. You don't know you are because you're not allowed to remember it, but you're actually home. And then during the day, you wake up on earth in your body because that's your school." Now, I still pleaded, "Please don't make me go. I beg of you, don't make me go." This is what amazed me, is that his response was not what I thought it would be. He did not forcefully say, "You are going, that's it." He lovingly said, "You're not doing this for me. This is something that your soul needs. And I'm afraid you will cheat your soul out of this experience. And I was about to cry out again and say, please, please don't make me go. And then he showed me my future. I remember as he showed me, it lifted me up instantly. I was so excited. And I remember thinking, oh, I have to remember. As I was waking up on my bed in my room, I had this nostalgia, this peace, this amazing feeling, like I could conquer the world. I went from depressed prior to this high that you can't imagine, this exuberant feeling of strength, positivity, and I saw Jesus fading out of my room, his hands open in a gold robe, just so calm and loving. He brought me to God to talk to the Father, and he brought me back. I said, I love you, Jesus, and he smiled. I fell asleep again for what must have been only a half an hour. When I looked at the clock and woke up, what seemed to be a good few hours was actually under an hour. When I woke up that day, I kept trying to remember what he told me. And I knew, I had the understanding that I would lose that knowledge. I was not allowed to remember. I can only say that now that I've lived another 16 years, or correct, actually it was, take that back, 26 years, that my life is indeed very good. And I know in my heart that it was indeed my children that I knew I wanted. I needed that experience. I needed to know the love of a mother with her children, especially because it was cheated from me. I want to share this because I feel there are a lot of things that we don't understand. I've had many other experiences where I have had dreams and God has spoken to me. I know that many people have this ability, if not all of us do, but you must be one with trusting him, praying to him, live your life as close as you can to what you know Jesus would, and you will have that close spiritual tie and hear him. People who say that you can't or that it's evil are wrong. It says in the Old Testament that God talks to us through our dreams. And for many years as a Christian, I was ashamed to share this story because I was judged as if it was evil spirits or some other delusional experience. But I will tell you that I believe without a shadow of a doubt that this life on earth that we live is for us to grow stronger spiritually, to be closer to him in heaven. There are different levels. To be to the best level, to get the best that you could imagine, you must evolve to the closest of purity and love and understanding of others as possible. And you can only learn that through unfortunate experiences in life here on earth. Those that suffer the hardest on this earth, they indeed have the highest rewards. They are the ones who actually earn, in a sense, a higher degree in high school. So whether we realize it or not, it's not a curse. It may feel like it at times, but God is always with us. He's watching over everything, and you only need to pray to him to know that he will give you signs. Maybe not tomorrow, maybe not in a week, but you will hear him. You will see him in different ways. He talks to us through everything he created. I get signs that I've often prayed for with him, whether it's in a number or a dream, of course, or even just something small that I could be praying for or thinking I wish could happen. And then I find out of nowhere, as insignificant as I thought it was, that it actually happened. I hope that this can help anyone who's listening, because for most of my childhood, I remember feeling that God didn't love me. I used to think that I was cursed, that my family was cursed. Then I realized that in the end, I was actually graduating to one of the highest rewards I could ever ask for. And I know that I will have that when I meet our Father again. Bless you. And I pray that you can actually heal from something in this story, in my dream. Thank you.